Hey, Mark the Guitar Guy here. We are going to continue on with some cool lessons based on the lesson we learnt on Saturday, which was Fields of Gold. Now, what I want to do is go into the more nuanced strumming pattern today. I'm going to go and show you what I'm doing with my right hand, with my palm, with all the different things happening in the right hand. Now, this is only going to apply if you already have this strum sussed or you're already an accomplished guitar player. And this is for an acoustic guitar too, by the way, because there's lots of percussiveness that happens out of an acoustic guitar. And I'm going to be showing you all the nuances with that within the right hand strumming pattern. So the strumming pattern is going to be exactly the same as we have done for the previous video on the strumming pattern. It's just we're adding in an extra flavor. It's kind of like when you learn a dance routine or something and you're just adding a bit more flair to that and it's making it more professional. However, the level of professionalism it makes it sound, if that's the way to word it, is going to be quite dramatic. Okay, it's a big difference between someone who can play guitar and play some chords and someone who is a guitarist who really does make the difference in this. And it's not that hard, guys. It's not. Don't be put off by this. This is anyone can do this. Don't be scared off. It's really simple to do. But once you know it, you're like, is that all it is? You just have to change this slightly and it sounds cool as. So that's what we're going to be doing today and just getting rid of a bit of the myth around that. And all the songs I'll be teaching, I'll be doing this. I'll be showing you how I play these songs and make them more amazing sounding on just an acoustic guitar. And sometimes even using a looper, which we'll get into a bit later on. So the right hand part of the song for Fields of Gold, the strumming pattern, here it is here. There's lots of percussiveness happening here and you're hearing lots of thudding and there's actually not a lot of chord happening when I'm playing that. So if you listen to it again, there's actually not a lot of chord. Like I'll go from a version of the basic strum and then I'll go to the version where it's percussive, okay? And I'll show you the difference. But so I'll do a bar of just a plain old strum, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. Then I'll do a bar doing the more percussive version and then go between the two. And you'll hear the difference in dynamics and the more pleasant sound is huge. Okay, so here we go. So starting off with the standard strum. Okay, quite a lot of difference between those two strums. However, it's exactly the same right hand. If you just turn the sound off and watch my right hand, you'd be thinking I'm doing exactly the same thing. It would just look like I'm doing exactly the same strum over and over and over again. However, there's little things that are happening within my hand, very subtle things. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now is going to be showing you the nuanced part of the strumming pattern. So the right hand is going to be, the palm of the right hand is going to be involved a lot with this. Okay, so a normal strumming pattern is not going to actually be using that, just playing an A minor chord. But what we're going to be doing is bringing the palm down of that right hand. It's going to be sitting on the strings about ½ an inch, a centimetre above the bridge of the guitar. So when that comes down, it's going to mute the strings to make that sort of a sound. But when you add it in with the strumming pattern, when you keep it on the whole time, it's kind of a different muted sound, which sounds kind of cool like that. So when I'm doing that, I'm just sort of keeping my palm strongly pushing down and finding the sweet spot on the guitar where that sounds good. If I slide my palm up too far, even just half an inch, the sound disappears and I just get chickadee noises. And if I go too far back, I don't get enough mute happening. So it's finding the sweet spot, and usually that is where the palm of my hand is actually feeling the bridge. So it's feeling the part where it's a little bit uncomfortable against the sharp edge of where that bridge is. So experiment with that. The first thing is to do that strumming pattern, that down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. Pop your little finger down or your hand down or your palm down on the side on an angle, and you're kind of tilting your hand backwards and just trying to get just experimenting yourself on how to get some different sounds out of that. Push down hard, release slowly. Push down hard, release slowly. See what happens. You'll notice differences. If I push down hard, then I release, it comes off slowly. And there's all that dynamic range between the muted sound and the clean sound. So the clean sound being nothing on there and the muted sound being everything on there full on. So there's all that variation. So within that, you can start getting kind of cool with that strumming pattern. So what I did there, I had it on at the beginning of the strumming pattern and I lifted it off slowly. So. Already that sounds awesome. So maybe that's the very first thing you could do, is once you get that muted part down, is to add that in. So you're starting strong mute, lifting slow. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. And you notice when your mute's on, the down, down, up, down is actually kind of difficult to do for all the strings. You're not, being a basic musician, when a beginner guitar player, you're obsessed with playing all the right strings. You don't have to. You only need a couple of notes for the guitar to sound cool. So if I'm muting it and I'm only playing 2 strings, that sounds cool. It's just 2 strings. It's just like the 5th string and the 4th string together. It sounds cool with a mute on it. And you can even add in some strong strums of the whole lot. Hear that pulse going on. That's lots of cool stuff with the right hand. Now the right hand's so important, and I always go on about it in my lessons, but so cool. If you can get the right hand side of things happening, you will sound amazing. People think it's about the left hand and what's going on because their eyes are going, oh, there's stuff happening here, and there's such subtle things happening in the right hand that actually is making you sound incredible. So this is the professional part. The left hand is still professional, but this is not as important. That was just an A minor chord, by the way, I was doing. I wasn't doing anything flash. But you would think there's all sorts of stuff going on within that chord progression. Now that is so nice to sing on top of. So that's the right hand side of things. So get really good at programming that right hand side of the strumming pattern. Experiment with the raising and the lowering of the muting of that. And in playing different parts of the strings, also just experiment. Come up with the way that sounds good to you and get that kind of tribal pulse happening. That. And you'll notice a lot of the upstrokes in that, by the way, because the upstrokes, it's not so easy to mute an upstroke. You'll find the upstrokes stick out a little bit more. That's normal, and it actually adds to the flavour of the song. Okay, so when you start off, keep the mute strong, and then slowly, as time goes on, you can add a little bit more bounce into that. So my hand's bouncing quite a lot. If I keep it kind of steady, then I lift it off a bit more, bounce it a little bit. I'm pretty much just doing this karate chopping the guitar. And that noise you can hear, that sounds super cool, especially plugged in, because that's got like a pickup underneath here, and that gives you a nice thud, like a do, 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 do. That actually happens throughout the PA system. In a big arena, it sounds amazing. So my hand's just pulsing, continually doing that. So there we have it. So I know it's a rushed lesson on that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Start with the basics, get that muting happening, then start opening it up and experimenting with that, and eventually get to the stage where you're pulsing your hand, you're actually hitting the guitar on a downwards action to make that sort of pulse percussive thing happen. And you can make it louder, make it softer, all with the variation of where you place your hand, and that should sound amazing. And then changing chords to sound amazing. So it sounds even super cooler when you start adding in the left part of, or the chord part of the hand. So there we have it. That's the right hand technique. Now that sounds advanced. It sounds kind of like, don't be too scared off by it, guys. It's not that tricky to do. It's just programming, and persevere with that. So the right hand side, make sure it's percussive. Start with it kind of muted, and then start lifting the hand off and getting experimental with that, and it should start sounding really, really cool for you. Don't be scared off by that. Okay. I want to see you guys on Wednesday, because we're going to be coming back and we're going to be looking at the awesomizing of the left hand. That's right. So all the chords, we're going to make them sound super cool. I'm going to be showing all the little nuanced chords that I do that aren't just A minor, F and C, etc., to make them a little bit more interesting. And if you add that into what you've already done with the right hand, man, it's going to sound magical. And if I'm hoping that right hand stuff is sorted out. It doesn't matter if you haven't got it amazing. It's still going to be helpful for you on Wednesday to come along and make sure you have a look at the lesson on the left hand, adding in those other chords, because every little change I do with the left hand is going to be applicable to all the other songs you've ever done ever. So if there's a song that's got A minor in it and I do a slightly different A minor, you can add that into the A minor of another song we're going to do. So Wednesday, come and check me out. Put some comments below. I'm going to check those comments out, and I can't wait to see you guys again on Wednesday. See you later.